All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep into something really, really unique. It's called the Cosmeno realm. Basically, think music, dance, and performance, but unlike anything you've ever encountered before. And we've got this amazing document here that's going to be our guide. It lays out all the key elements of this Cosmeno realm.
You know, one of the first things that jumps out at you when you start reading this is how this whole realm is rooted in something they call the Cosmeno spirit. And get this, it's heavily influenced by the urban vibes of Chicago.
So, we're talking Chicago energy as a foundation. I'm already intrigued. But then I'm also seeing this term Rex Chiefs pop up everywhere in this document. They seem to be pretty central to the whole thing.
Yeah, the Rex Chiefs, it seems like they hold a really special place in this culture. They're almost like leaders or icons.
Okay, so we've got Chicago vibes, ND, these mysterious Rex Chiefs. I'm officially hooked.
Yeah.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's start with the music. The document lays out two main types, house low beats and house high beats.
Those names are so evocative, aren't they? You can almost feel the energy just from the labels. House music, as you probably know, is known for its driving beats, and here in the Cosmeno realm, they make a distinction between those deeper low beats and then the more high-energy high beats.
And check out some of the names they've got under those categories. Disco house, funky house, acid house, electro house. I mean, these names practically make you want to jump up and dance.
Absolutely. And for those who might not be as familiar with house music, it's a super diverse genre that really took off in Chicago, drawing on influences from disco and funk.
Okay, so we've got the Chicago connection again. But here's where things get even more interesting. It says here that house high beats were originally associated only with those Rex Chiefs.
That's a really important detail. It almost suggests that there's a kind of exclusivity around those high beats, you know, like they're reserved for a specific group. Or maybe there's a deeper spiritual connection.
Oh, so maybe the high beats were seen as especially powerful or sacred or something. Okay, Rex Chiefs are moving up my list of things we need to unpack. But for now, let's switch gears and talk about the dancing. Because, get this, they have categories called house low moves and house high moves, which seem to mirror the music categories.
Yeah, and the names for these dance styles are just as amazing. Jacking, footwork, voguing, tectonic. Each one evokes such a distinct style.
I know, right? It's like this whole vocabulary of movement that you just instinctively
Oh,
feel.
yeah.
And hold on, it also says that originally those high moves were also only for the Rex Chiefs. What is going on with these Rex Chiefs?
Yeah, that connection keeps popping up, doesn't it? Which definitely strengthens the idea that they're not just any members of this society. They're in a class of their own. And it's important to remember that these dance styles aren't just about steps. They're about expressing emotions, communicating ideas, and maybe even connecting with those Rex Chiefs.
Wow, so it's like a whole system of expression through movement and music. But it's not all super high energy, futuristic vibes.
Right.
The document also mentions disco classics dancing. They even list dances like the hustle and the robot.
I love that. It's a little nod to the roots of house music and shows that the Cosmeno realm isn't just about creating something totally new, but also honoring what came before.
Okay, so we've covered the music and the moves, but what about the tools that create those amazing sounds? The document mentions drum machines, synthesizers, sequencers, MIDI controllers. It's like a high-tech orchestra.
Exactly. All those things, those are the building blocks of their electronic music soundscape. It's how they get those pulsing beats and layers of sound.
This is getting good.
Yeah.
Now let's talk performance, because this is where it seems like everything comes together. I'm looking at a section here that describes these things called DJ live sets. They feature something called house beats, which I'm guessing is what we've been talking about. But then there's also something called Sentai beats.
Ah, yes. The Sentai beats. Those are interesting. See, house beats seem to be the live DJ sets of, like you said, those house low beats and high beats that we talked about. But Sentai beats are specifically described as having a more sentimental mood.
Hold on, so they have a type of music specifically for a certain emotion. That is so cool.
It seems like they have a very nuanced way of using music to evoke different feelings and set the tone for different types of events.
Okay, we need to dive into those events for sure. And speaking of events, let's talk about the players, the performers who bring this all to life. We have the house dancing chorus, the cheer-giving Rex Lee, whoever that is. Then there's the house beats and Senti Beats live setters, and even Senti Beats live set vocals.
Wow, it's a full cast of characters, and they each have their own unique role to play. But one detail really caught my eye. It says that those Senti Beats live set vocals are specifically mentioned for something called final farewell rites.
Wait a minute. Sentimental house music, plus singers and farewell rites.
Yeah.
What are these rites? And what role do those specific beats and vocals play in them? This sounds like we're just starting to tap into the emotional depth of the Cosmeno realm.
I think you're right. There's definitely a lot more to unpack here.
All right, we've got to get back to these Rex Chiefs. Seriously, I'm so curious about them now. They have their own music, their own dance style, their own grand entrances. It's like they're the VIPs of the Cosmeno realm.
Yeah, you're right. Everything seems to point back to them. And luckily for us, there's more info in this document. Remember all those performance descriptions we were talking about? Well, there's one that specifically mentions the Rex Chief's entourage.
Oh, you mean the Rex Chiefs lineup? The one that sounded like something out of a movie premiere.
Exactly. And it goes into some pretty cool details. It says that the Rex Chief is actually accompanied by a Rex Chief patron and a Rex Chief guard during this run-in.
So it's not just a solo thing, huh? There's got a whole crew. This is getting more interesting by the minute. What do you think the significance of the patron and the guard is?
Well, if we think about everything else we've learned, it kind of reinforces that whole idea of Rex Chiefs being in a position of authority, you know?
Right.
Like, they've got a protector and someone who, judging by the name, seems to be a supporter or advisor. It all hints at some kind of hierarchy.
Right, and remember how those high beats and high moves were originally only associated with the Rex Chiefs? It's like those things are reserved for those in power.
Exactly. It really does feel like we're putting together a puzzle, doesn't it? And the more we learn about these Rex Chiefs, the closer we get to seeing the whole picture.
Okay, so we're building a picture of their position, their entourage. But I still have so many questions, like, what exactly are those final farewell rites? And how do the senti beats, with their sentimental mood, fit into all of this?
Those are the big mysteries, aren't they? The document is unfortunately a little vague on those specifics. We know that senti beats are a specific type of house music meant to create a more sentimental feeling, and we know they're used during these farewell rites.
And we can't forget that detail about the vocalists. Remember, the document specifically mentions singers being part of Senti Beats live sets. It doesn't say that for any of the other performances.
Oh, that's right. You know, that detail could actually tell us something. Maybe it suggests those rites involve some kind of singing, like chanting or something. Maybe as a way of, like, expressing grief or paying tribute.
That makes a lot of sense. Man, I'm picturing these soulful beats and voices echoing in the air.
It's almost like you can feel the emotion behind those rites, even though we don't have all the details, you know? Music is powerful like that. It can transcend language.
Okay, my imagination is officially running wild. What if those farewell rites are somehow connected to the Rex Chiefs? Maybe there's ceremonies held when a Rex Chief, well, passes on.
That's a fascinating thought. It would definitely fit with everything else we're learning about the importance of these Rex Chiefs. And those Sentai beats could be like a way of honoring them, celebrating their life or their legacy.
Well, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I mean, we started with dance moves, and now we're talking about potential funeral rites. And it all leads back to these mysterious Rex Chiefs.
It really is amazing what one detail can lead to, isn't it? It speaks to how rich and complex this culture is.
And you know what? There's actually another detail that caught my eye that I want to mention. Remember how we were listing all the different performers? Well, the document outlines specific dress codes for some of them.
Oh, you're right. It says sleeveless fit for the house dancing chorus, cheer-giving do for the cheer-giving Rexley, and then tall tea fit for the DJs, both the house beats and the Senti Beats live setters.
I love that they've thought about every aspect of this. Those dress codes are like another way of conveying their identity and making the performance more visually impactful.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's not just about the music and the movement. It's about creating a whole visual language that adds to the message and the energy.
We've got music, dance, characters, costumes. This is like a full-blown sensory experience. And honestly, I have this feeling we're only scratching the surface.
I agree. It's like we've opened a door to this amazing world, but there's so much more to discover inside.
Well, the good news is we're not done yet. And with all the clues we've gathered so far, I have a feeling the mystery of the Rex Chiefs is about to get even more intriguing. You know what it feels like? Like we stumble onto some kind of secret society, but instead of, secret handshakes and passwords, they use music and dance to express themselves.
That's a great way to put it. And that's exactly what makes this Cosmeno realm so fascinating. It's hidden, but right there in front of us. We see these things that we recognize, like house music and disco, but it's all been combined into something totally unique.
It really is. They've taken these familiar things and made this whole cultural world out of them, with its own language and its own rituals and even its own hierarchy.
And speaking of hierarchy, We can't wrap this up without talking more about those Rex Chiefs. They've been like the main thread through all of this, and honestly, the more we uncover, the more fascinating they get.
Tell me about it. I went from being kind of curious about them to being totally obsessed.
Yeah.
We've seen how much their presence affects everything. The music, the dance, those performances, the rituals.
What's interesting to me is that the document never actually says what their role is. We have to kind of read between the lines and pick up on those little hints.
It's true. We're figuring out how important they are based on things like, oh, they get their own special music and dance styles. And they have those super elaborate entrances with their entourage. And maybe those farewell rites are even connected to them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so cool, you know? We're not just sitting back and absorbing information. We're actually putting pieces together like a cultural puzzle.
We're like cultural detectives.
Mm.
And even though we might not have all the answers, just finding those clues and coming up with our own interpretations,
Yeah.
that's what makes it fun.
I agree. It's all about that feeling of wonder, you know? And who knows, maybe someday we'll get to experience the Cosmeno realm firsthand. Maybe we'll get to see these Rex Chiefs in action.
Now that would be incredible. Imagine actually being there for that Rex Chief lineup. The music, the entourage, the energy.
It'd be like stepping into another world, a world built on rhythm and movement and all these layers of expression.
All right, experience the Cosmeno realm officially goes on my bucket list.
Mine too. It's a good reminder that there's always something new to learn, something new to see, something new to experience.
Okay, let's wrap things up with a quick recap for everyone listening. So we started with this amazing document. It gave us a peek into this Cosmeno realm. It's this super vibrant culture that's got roots in Chicago, but with its own special spin.
We got to dive deep into the music and the dancing. We learned about the house low beats and the high energy high beats and all those cool dance styles like jacking and footwork and voguing.
Right, and we met some pretty awesome characters along the way, like the house dancing chorus, and of course we can't forget about the DJs. Those are the ones spinning all those infectious beats.
And then there were the Rex Chiefs. That's who seemed to hold the key to really understanding what the Cosmeno realm is all about.
We talked about their potential role, their grand entrances, how they're connected to the music and the dancing, and even the possibility that those really emotional farewell rites are somehow linked to them.
And even though we didn't solve every mystery, I think we came away with a much better understanding of just how complex and rich this culture really is.
Like we always say here on The Deep Dive, we give you the map, but it's up to you to keep exploring.
So keep digging, keep those questions coming, and keep looking for those fascinating little bits of knowledge.
And hey, you never know. Maybe your exploring will lead you to the Cosmeno realm, and you'll get to see those Rex Chiefs for yourself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep exploring.